you have taro, which is kind of like, it's very starchy. It's kind of like a potato in a general sense. It tastes kind of bland, but most of the real like Polynesians will eat it with almost every meal, and so you kind of grow to like it. And I really grew to like it. I love it. Sometimes you'll have cassava, which is kind of the same type thing. With almost every meal, they'll have some sort of meat. Usually it's like chicken or pork. Beef isn't as big there. Lamb is bigger for like Australians than it is for Polynesians. But and then they'll also have sometimes like chop suey. They'll have other things called like loaves, which is taro leaf wrapped up in coconut oil or coconut milk, and so, like Tongans will put meat in it as well. Usually they'll put like lamb in it, and so it's really good. Tongans have this drink called otai, which is very, very good. It's kind of a fruit drink where they'll put juice and maybe I mean, this is like Australian Polynesians, but they'll put like some sort of soda in it, so it kind of gives it a little bit more of a kick. And then they'll put like just fruit in it, so they'll either carve out a watermelon, so there's like a ton of watermelon chunks in it. Sometimes if they're making it fast, they'll just kind of have those like variety fruit cans that they'll just like open up and dump in it. So you're just kind of like drinking this like very fruity drink it's really filling but really good. It's not really a smoothie because the fruit isn't like blended up, but it's just kind of whole and chunky, and it's really good. Other drinks you'll have, they call it like cocoa, but it's very bitter, and they'll grind up like kind of a cocoa root. I don't know what it's called, but they'll grind it up, mash it up, and then put it in boiling water and stir it and put sugar in it. And it's very, very bitter. And you can make it sweet if you add enough sugar and cream and stuff to it. But it's really good. My trainer kind of pulled unless you're like straight from the islands, you usually don't drink like there's kind of facing to the bottom, but little chunks of the root that was ground up. And most of the time they'll filter it out, but the first time I had it, they didn't. And my trainer didn't tell me not to drink it. So I was like trying to drink that and eat it, and I was like about to throw up the first time, and he was just laughing at me. Another thing that a lot of Australians drink is called Milo. I know they have it in a lot of other countries, but it's kind of a hot chocolatey-ish drink. But the biggest thing is how much food you eat there, especially at Polynesian's house. They'll just keep putting food on your plate, and you're expected to eat it. I mean, most of them are understanding, but I was on exchanges with somebody, and he just walked out of the house and just like walked down the street a little bit and just threw up. I had another companion. We had 2 dinners in one night that just a scheduling conflict happened, and both got scheduled, and so we went to both, and we had a late lunch that day. And so he sat down at the second dinner and started eating, and just excused himself and went out back and just like made himself throw up so that he could come back and keep eating the food. And you just like some of the first things I learned to say in Samoan and Tongan were, "Thank you, I'm full." And it's just like what you learn, and but you have to eat, and you have to put it down, and it's fun, but it can also be kind of painful, especially when you're like on a bike area and you realize that you have a 20-minute bike ride after the meal. And other than that, though, I had the opportunity to eat a lot of other different kinds of food than just Polynesian food. I had a Korean companion who would make Korean food and take me to Korean barbecue places. I had a Chinese companion that would take me to restaurants where they didn't speak any English there. They just spoke Chinese, and so I had no idea what was going on the entire time, but he would order for us. And then I had Chinese members that would cook very authentic Chinese food. It's not super sweet like it is here, and so that was really interesting to get a chance to eat all these different varieties of food. Like one time we tracked into this Lebanese guy who was just eating, he had like a leg of lamb, like raw lamb, and he would cut out a slice and dip it in salt and then eat it. and so he said that the only like we could come in, but we would have to eat with him, and so that was a very interesting experience, just eating raw lamb dipped in salt. So just a lot of, I don't know, I was maybe more adventurous than some people are, less adventurous than others are, but you kind of have to be ready to experience and be ready and be willing to put yourself out there in a lot of ways.